Yes, you're listening here live on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show with your host, Brent, kicking it here on this Thursday night. Yep, we rock it from coast to coast, north to south, and yes, even in Antarctica. And if you're in Antarctica, let us know whether or not it's still cold down there. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to like and follow and subscribe to our other social media platforms. You can follow me on my YouTube channel, The Coolly Cool Show. You can also follow me on Twitter, it's Coolly Cool 2412. You can also follow me on my Instagram page at Brent_the_champ. You can also follow me on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and as always, Spreaker.com. Ooh, baby, we got a lot to talk about on this Thursday night. We're going to try to get into one of the good topics of discussion. Maybe you heard it, maybe you haven't. But it's going to be an interesting one for you. You're listening here on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show. We're going to be started in just a couple of seconds, getting things all set up and ready to rock and to go. And you're listening to Coolly Cool's Hip Hop Beat. You are now getting tuned into the coolest of the cool, the Coolly Cool Show. We rock it from coast to coast, north to south, and yes, even in Antarctica. You are now tuned in. Now, the man exhilarates nothing but absolute coolness. Your host, Brett. Yes, welcome. Thank you for listening, tuning in here to the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show with your host, Brent, kicking here on this Thursday night. Yep, hey, got a topic of discussion for tonight, man. I tell you right now, If this is your first time listening to the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show, just to let you know, we talk about any and everything, any and all types of craziness, nonsense that continues to be plagued our whole entire world, our community, our vast existence. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, first, I just wanted to kind of touch on, just a little bit. I read in an article, and the article that I read, and this is what I want everybody to kind of just understand, feel, and try to grasp on the concept of absolute nonsense, or synthetical nonsense, that continues to play our, let's just say, certain things that happen. So I'm gonna read a piece. I'm not gonna read a piece. I'm just gonna go over it and just generally talk about it. Okay. So if you haven't noticed that they're in the news, and this is not high prolific, it's just kind of on certain mainstream medias, not even by any media outlets to be, so to speak, but they're just out there. You have to actually kind of look into it, and you might end up finding it, and then you'll be like, oh, damn, I didn't know that. Well, there used to be a former CIA agent, Alexander Ma. He's age 71. Well, I think now he's like 74 or 75. I don't know. So, he was a former CIA agent, and he apparently worked for the CIA between the years of 1982 to 1989. And he worked for a long period of time. Well, actually, let me just go ahead and read this, because this is what I got from I'm not going to say their name and their resources where I got it from. So, it says, former CIA agent Alexander Ma, age 71, of Honolulu, was arrested in 2020. After admitting to an undercover, three-letter acronym word agency employee that he facilitated the provisions of classified information to the intelligence officers employed by the People's Republic of China. So that'd be the Shanghai State of Security Bureau. So, Ma worked for the CIA from 1982 to 1989. He had a blood relative, which later they met as his co-conspirator, who worked for the CIA from 1967 to 1983. Wonder how he got the job working at the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency. Wonder. Now, his co-conspirator, the blood relative, is since deceased. And here's the kicker. Ma had applied for a job as a contract linguist. Am I saying it right? Hope I am. In the three-letter acronym, at the Honolulu field office. Now, they were aware of Ma's ties to the People's Republic of China's intelligence, but they hired Ma as part of a ruse to monitor and investigate his activities and contacts with, the state of Shanghai, whatever over there. So, Ma worked part-time at an off-site location for the, three-letter acronym from August 2004 until 2012. Now, since, he was arrested and gone to trial, all this other stuff, and he has just been sentenced to 10 years in a federal prison for conspiracy to commit espionage. Now, we're going to break this down in the most simplest way that I can tell you for all my great listeners, all great two of y'all. So, at the time of Ma's, I don't even know if I'm saying his last name right. The time of Ma's arrest, which was now, at the time, well, as I said beforehand, Ma, at the time of his arrest, in 2020, which most people can remember, the COVID time, he was 71, and now 4 years later, he's more or less 75, going on 76. And he just now been sentenced to 10 years in a federal prison for conspiracy to commit espionage. So, I got a couple of problems and a gripes with this, simply for the fact that we're going to break this down. For the fact that this individual, Ma, had worked for the CIA from 1982 to 1989, had a blood relative who later was his co-conspirator, worked for the CIA from 1967 to 1983. Wonder how he got the job, right? And this lets me know that since he had communications and ties with the intelligence of the People's Republic of China during all this time, we're going ties to them for about 30 plus years. And you don't know what the hell he was actually giving to, the People's Republic of China during that time period. But he was getting some type of intelligence, some type of classified information during that entire stint, and obviously more. And on top of that, his co-conspirator, the blood relative, had worked for the agency from 1967 to 1983. So what information was he giving up to the People's Republic of China during that time period? And it's a long period of time. That's well over 10 years. Well over 10 years. So you have to kind of wonder what information was he giving up or had given up. And then to get his relative into the agency. And then they're giving up more information, more intelligence, more secrets of the United States. And the United States is supposed to be, we're going to make sure that we're going to do our counterintelligence and make sure we want loyal people working for our government. And then on top of that, you have people that inside their agencies that are giving up secrets, giving it back to other countries and things of that nature. All right. So they're doing this for a long period of time, and they probably already know that he's doing this, but they're not doing anything about saying, hey, no, or have done the background check to say, hey, this dude's committing espionage. He has ties to foreign adversaries. But no one's saying or doing anything about it. What they're doing is giving these guys, jobs, employment, opportunities, a fucking paycheck, benefits, and no one's doing anything. They're letting them continue to operate because they're like, they've passed all the tests. Oh, really? But you're worried about the small guy. When you got the enemy right underneath your nose, you don't do jack shit about it. But they're not going to talk about this, right? That's why I said, this did break headlines at the time, but not so much to where it was on Point Break, like, as far as like the Edward Snowden thing. Only reason why, because they didn't get Edward Snowden. They were like, God damn, that motherfucker got away. But if they got him, I guarantee they probably would be like, yeah, we talked about it, but then they would have been like, okay, he's going to be held accountable for what he did. But they still let him in. They still brought him into the organization. They still gave that dude employment, considering the fact that maybe they showed the hair trigger signs that this dude may not be trustworthy. But they went ahead and said, go ahead. Give him employment. Give him a job. Give him an opportunity. Go ahead and give him, 401k, retirement benefit, things of that nature. Give him a house. Let him accumulate income in order to purchase, the lavish goodness of lifestyle, things of that nature. Well, let alone this dude is just turning turncoat onto the American people, the American public, the American government, the American trust. So this guy, he then decides to get a job with a 3-letter word acronym. And he gets a job with them, but they hire him based on the fact that they want to find out what he knows, knowing that he is giving information back to another foreign adversary, another foreign government's intelligence section. But he works for a long period of time doing this, and he continues to do this for long periods of time while still getting the paycheck, while still getting paid benefits and all that stuff, while still living here in the United States, while enjoying vacations and accumulating all types of stuff. Well, he's still doing this. And then eventually finally say, you know what, this guy's just giving too much of the goods. It's time to go ahead and crack down, get him, and finito. But this guy had been working for close to a decade with that, other, 3-letter, acronym agency for a while. But there was all a ruse just to see what he knows, see who he's talking to, see whose source is. And then eventually going. So you let a period of almost 10 years go up to the point where you just allow an enemy just to keep infiltrating, giving up secrets, and then not doing anything about it, but saying it's been an all-long investigation for about close to 10 years. And then you finally says, we got you. And then on top of that, when you do go ahead and effect an arrest on him, he's not spending all the time in jail. He gets out, obviously he has to go to trial. And now you put something out just about a couple of weeks ago that says, oh yeah, by the way, he's been sentenced to 10 years in a federal prison for conspiracy. And at that time, he's already old. He's already then lived his life. And he's almost on the back window of getting, I'm sorry to say, going out. What have you accomplished at that time, the government of the United States? What did we accomplish? You got an old person, it's like, what did you get? Oh, you got him because he's been selling more than that, probably since he got into the government aspect back in the early 80s. And then on top of that, his co-conspirator, which is a blood relative, has probably been doing that shit since the late 60s. All the way up until the early 80s. I got a problem with that. You know what that says to me? Is that the low middleman, the guy, the average Joe citizen, doesn't have a fucking chance at trying to reach the American dream of trying to actually be, hey, you know what? I'm want to be a contributor to my country. I'm trustworthy. I hold everything trustworthiness to not sell out my country. I have to go all these tests, all these types of things that I got to do in order to try to be part of our country's finest top echelon, so that way we can secure everything here. But you get passed over for the simple fact because, let's just put it this way, the government doesn't think or may not think that you're top echelon, but they'll go with somebody who has foreign adversary ties that more likely is going to continue to be a foreign adversary ally to those foreign ties. And they're going to continue to do this shit over and over, but you just say, we'll let them in the door anyway. What the hell is all this counterintelligence shit that so-called we have here in America to prevent shit like this happening when you just decide to let the bad guy in through the back fucking door? Hell, at this point, it sounds like you letting the motherfucker in through the front door, knowing that he's got the key anyway, and you let him just go right in. You know he's doing bad shit, but you said, let him go in. Don't worry about it. We're keeping an eye on them. Oh, you're keeping an eye on them. Okay. But as you're keeping an eye on them, you're giving them everything that they want as the regular Joe citizen who's honest, trustworthy here, the one you want. But you're going to let this other guy go. You know, where is our counterintelligence doing? What are they doing? And then, you know, you'll get the little answer from them. And it'll be like, oh, you know, we can't catch them all. But we have the guys who are very up on point on to try and capture these people that slip through the cracks. It sounds like they allow a lot of these motherfuckers slip through the cracks. And they do it on purpose. And when they're doing it on purpose, they give these fuckers jobs, opportunities, income, give them all types of shit. Where these people accumulate money, wealth, they accumulate land ownership because, you know, you make certain money at a certain age, you want to buy land, property. You buy other types of commodities, things of that nature. You grow a family or so that maybe, you know, you have in an area, but then your still allegiance that they have is to something else. It's just unfreaking real. Like, this, you know, it really sucks because the real average Joe citizen that works hard, that tries to get, you know, do the right thing, to get where they need to be, they get shitted on. And they get shitted on by fucking certain government, our own government that does this shits on them. And this is why I have a problem with the fact that the average Joe citizen tries to do the right thing, the good thing, to try to be extra, but then our own government turns their back on them and then picks somebody that they know is not the right candidate, not the right person, and gives that person an opportunity, knowing that they're going to fucking eventually screw our country, our people, our citizens, people all over. I got a problem with that. And it's not fair by a fucking margin. Not fucking even fair. It's not even close. It's so bad that you literally feel as though you can't compete to what the freak they're doing. Because every time you try to scrounge up, to try to have some type of, oh, I'm getting here, I'm doing well, and then you see this shit that hits the headlines, and the only reason it hits there because, obviously, you know, certain agencies do their investigation, and like, oh, we finally got them, but how, you knew this for how long? It's almost this way how they do in, what is it, like World War II. After World War II, all the major allies and the U.S., big time, started taking, you know, the scientists of Germany, grabbing all of them, getting all of them, and then having them on our team. And as having them on our team, then what they were doing was going ahead, giving them jobs, giving them money, giving them all the commodities of what here in America, the American dream, what people strive to try to get, while the rest of our own American people are freaking struggling, are scratching by to freaking make a living for themselves. But they give the bad guy the fucking whole things. And then after a point in time when they're like, oh yeah, well, the bad guy already established everything. And then they're just, oh shit, you know, he was doing this. And then it's like, it was a big surprise. No, it's not a big surprise. It's a fucking long con. This is why I talk about things are not right. And this is why I do my podcast, because I want to get my voice out. And I have the right to my opinion. And I have the right to fucking speak on this. I have the right to fucking freedom of speech. I have the right to talk about this. And if you don't like it, then oh well. But guess what? The honesty, the truth about it is just the world we live in and in certain countries we live in are fucked up. They don't treat people how people are supposed to be treated. And the thing is, you gotta watch out for the deception. You gotta watch out for all the bullshit. Because, and I put this to where people are trying to get employment, people are trying to get jobs, people are trying to do things, and they can't, but they get passed over by fucking assholes. And I'm pretty sure if you listen to the podcast, you have heard of people say, oh, look at the old boy network. If you know about the old boy network refers to, oh, I'm hooking my buddy up because, I got him. He's going to get the job because I got him. And the reason he says that is because he's going to hook him up, even though he knows he's not the right candidate, not the right fit, but it doesn't matter. He's like, I got him. I got you, buddy. You're in the mix. Don't worry. You're a dumbass, but I got you. And this is what makes people angry. This is what makes so many people just untrustworthy about a lot of stuff, about the government, about certain agencies, certain things of that nature, because they see nothing but a revolving door that continues to keep doing the exact same shit over and over. And in the time, you're like, can anybody break the revolving door to stop this bullshit? I mean, think about it. For those some of them goddamn politicians up there in the freaking, up there in the White House, up there in the Capitol, and the senators and stuff like that. Listen, some of those people it was already marked that they were going to be in politics, be up there. For the average kind of Joe citizen that's had one of this, yeah, you got to do a lot of more legwork than the fucking certain person that's already up there. You want to know why? Because it's mapped out that way. It's planned that way. Says it can't not happen, but you're going to have to do a hell of a lot of legwork to get and obtain to that fucking level. And when you do, it's great. You earned it. But trust and believe, for some other people, the shit's going to be given to them because the fact that it's an old boy network about taking care of your buddies and all this other bullshit. That's all I gotta say about that. But I wanted to get you guys on to know whether or not you guys knew about it, because like I said, they're not gonna put it on the fucking TV. Like hell, we just had about fucking a couple weeks ago where, what was it, the governor of New York's second person fucking just got indicted for selling secrets to China. This motherfucker was right-hand man to the governor. Selling secrets. Boy, I wonder what their background check must have consisted of. Because obviously must have been a blank background check on that, because I don't think they even did one. Talk about counterintelligence, counter-surveillance. Pfft, non-existent. None of that shit happened. But, as I say, I digress from getting upset and angry at certain shit that's out of my control and my hand. We're going to go talking to my all-time favorite. And well, actually, you know what? We're going to take a quick, small little break. Just so that way I can kind of calm my nerves down a little bit. So, we're going to take a quick break. And we're going to be back. So don't go nowhere. We're going to be here for more of the Cooley Cool show here on Thursday night. So don't go nowhere. Listen here to some Cooley Cool's modern trap music. Yep, you're listening to Cooley Cool's Modern Trap here on the Coolest of the Cool, the Cooley Cool Show. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like us, follow us, and subscribe to all our social media platforms. You can follow me on my YouTube channel, the Cooley Cool Show. You can follow me on the Twitter account at CooleyCool2412. You can also follow me on my Instagram page at Brent_the_champ. You can also follow us on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and as always, Spreaker.com. So we just last talking about as far as the topic that certain government agencies just allow to hire traders and just to continue to hire traders and then think nothing of it when something happens when the trader decides to been selling secrets for over past 30 years. But hey, what the hell? No one gives a damn, right? That's background check, what? But for the little guy, we're going to have an extensive background check on you because we just don't think you're trustworthy. But this motherfucker over here who's got the old boy network, don't worry about his credentials. He's good to go, man. Fuck out of here. So, moving on into another topic of discussion. I know I've talked to them previously on my other podcasts about our aliens, our space travel, the new moon. Well. I would just like to say that, aliens, hey, shut the fuck up. Don't even try to fucking come here and think you can do some shit, because you're not going to. I mean, honestly, at this point in time, does anybody even believe in aliens? I know there's some space nerds out there that are like, oh, man, the aliens, you just don't understand. They're coming here. Did you watch the movie Independence Day? We gotta take the fight to them. Shut the fuck up. No one cares about fucking aliens, okay? And and everybody's like, oh, Area 51, man, they're hiding alien technology. No, the only thing Area 51's hiding is they're hiding advanced technology that the United States comes up with their own and certain shit that we don't want any other, governments or countries to fucking find out. Okay? Plain and fucking simple. Hell, it's a big ass desert. Why not fucking hide this shit? You don't want anybody to find out any goddamn way. What's the best place to do it? Do it in the fucking desert. Alright? It's at this point in time, I mean, people's minds start going all types of different directions. And the evolution of social media hasn't helped any way. They just keep fueling the minds of fucking people who, I'm sorry to say, they allow the mystique of, recreational drugs to take over. And then they start coming with delusional shit and start thinking shit. Like, they're like, aliens. I've said it plenty of times on my podcast. I said, hey, if you ever noticed when people talk about, the alien abductions and things of that nature, these are all high prolific people, contributors to society, or in a social status within the status quo that, they talk, people believe them. And when they talk, people are like, oh my God, they can't be lying. They can't be just saying this shit. And then followed by that, after their interviews and their talks and they're probably on podcasts, then you end up finding out they end up writing a book deal about their experiences about being abducted or shit like that. And the book is, buy my book is $29.95 plus tax, shipping and handling not included. But you can get your free shipping if you have Amazon, you do it that way. What a joke. And I've said this over and over, and I'll keep beating it down forever, is that this is all fueled on money. It's fueled on money. So the people go to interviews and talk about this, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's fueled on money. It's fueled on money. They want to be able to sell you on something so that way they can get paid. That's the whole fucking gist to this shit. Okay? It's not a hard fucking way to see it. You just gotta look through the bullshit. People back in the day, like during the 60s, 70s, they were talking about Bigfoot. They're like, oh, the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot. Or, in the Himalayas, the abominable snowman, the Yeti. All right, look. They're like, oh, Bigfoot, he's real. He's living in the wilderness of Montana and Washington State, Oregon, and all that shit. But ain't ever been no evidence of a motherfucking Bigfoot. No one's seen his ass. All right? They're like, well, we got a Bigfoot print that's been in the mud. Are you fucking crazy? Psh, fucking con, okay? Just as the same with, people say, well, look, the aliens are in the skyline. They're UFOs traveling, and they're the bright lights. As I said before, if they're an advanced alien species with advanced technology, why the fuck do they need to have bright white spotlights navigating Earth's terrain? If they travel from wherever their fucking planet or whatever galaxy so many light years away, they traveled during darkness. They didn't have to use spotlights to find their way through the vast darkness of space, because there's a lot of fucking space out there, to be able to fucking come here and I need bright light to be able to navigate and see, because you surely didn't use that shit when you were up in fucking outer space traveling to Earth. That didn't happen. It's bullshit. You just said, no. It's a con, man. Literally. And then you have these space nerds and everything about space related. They're trying to sell you on something because they need to make money. It makes over hundreds and billions of dollars fueled into all this stuff. And they're like, well, people say, well, I know people that help make suits, or the boxing materials and the nuts and bolts for the shirt. I'm not saying, first of all, if you're going to do a deception, you're going to go all out to do the deception in order to get your money's worth out of that deception. And what I mean by this, and everything that I said on my previous podcast, you can go look it up for yourself. I have not bullshitted anything. When I talked about augmented contact lenses, they've been existent. They've been existent since the fucking 2010, 2009. They've been in fucking development. That shit's been out there. The freaking, I forgot what it's called. It's I can't remember the name of it. It starts with the EX word, where it actually can fly using thrusters itself, and it can move up, down, left, right, sideways, diagonals, and things of that nature. You put it high enough, it can go for long periods of time. I forget what the name is. That's already been in existence since the fucking 80s. Late 70s, 80s. That's already been in existence. I've been saying a lot of shit that people don't fucking listen to my podcast and don't fucking say, oh, that motherfucker telling me. I'm telling you the fucking truth. I'm telling you, people always talk about fucking seeing aliens. The next thing they get a book deal because they want to get paid. I am telling shit that the fucking people are doing shit all because they want to get fucking paid. It's a whole big thing. It's about money. The whole shit's about money. It's about fucking the government and all types of fucking avenues of business to get your money. Okay? They're gonna sell you on shit so that we can get your money. They don't give a fuck about anything else but obtaining your money. Dollar bill, yo. I'm telling you. And the way that they're pushing this way now, and I tell you before, they're gonna push it so much that for the fact that you're not gonna be able to tell the difference between what's real and what's not real. And they're going to do it, and they continue to do it. Okay? Plain and simple. That's how it's been. Plain and simple. Before the evolution of social media, along with internet and things of that nature, check this out. Back in the day, you had newspapers. Newspapers put out information out there. People read the newspapers, people looked at the newspaper, and people like, oh shit, it took time before somebody says, maybe that shit's maybe not true. But you read it, you're like, holy fuck, some shit's really going on. Because you read the newspaper, it was influencing. It was mind-boggling. It was changing. Before then, you had certain things of that nature, but it took a long period of time before anybody says, wait a minute, does that make sense? But it happened. Think about it. I believe, what was it? The Civil War? When the Civil War ended here in America, the Civil War ended, but it took about a week or a month before, I think it was the Southerners even knew the shit was over. And they were still fucking fighting because of the fact that they didn't know, because the fucking passing the message across wasn't quite abundant how it is today, where it's at your fingertips. So, yeah, people still fighting. Didn't be like, oh, the war's over. Nah, we still going at it. What you talking about? You know, a lot of shit is. Think about from the Roman times. They would conquer so many. They expanded so far and wide, the Roman Empire. And then guess what? Guys would be out on their post and shit. And then guess what? They'd be like, oh shit, they about to fucking run this motherfucker over here on our post. They say, go back here, tell us to get some troops. It would take months for them to even get people to come back, because guess what? They'd be like, well, we got to travel because we don't have any way of letting anybody the fuck know. Now with the advancements of fucking social media and the internet and all this stuff is at our fingertips, the flow of information travels very fast, but as the flow of information traveling very fast, it's easy to manipulate. And trust and believe when I tell you this, as the information can be manipulated from anything, humans will find a way to manipulate it and to fucking paint its picture for their own fucking benefit. That is true and honest. For whatever goal they're trying to obtain, they're gonna fucking do it. But, as I say, people think that I'm just talking crazy. Not telling the truth. You know, you believe it if you want. You don't have to believe it if you don't want to. But what I'm telling you is the factual truth to a lot of shit. So, yep, we've came to another end of episode of another great episode here on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show with your host Brent Kerr, kicking it on this Thursday night. Hope the rest of your week goes quite well, quite pleasant. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like and follow me on my other social media platforms. I'm going to keep talking the common sense truth. And if you know anybody that's into the common sense truth, be sure to tell them that it is the truth, that I speak it. All who cometh, all who listeneth, take for what I tell you, with great strength and longevity. Yay, matey! Arr! Is that the pirate thing? I don't fucking know. So, well, that's it. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe and kind to each other. Don't fall into the bullshit. Alright? And remember, somebody's trying to get your money. Because these people are just crazy. So, you're already here on the Coolest of the Cool, the Coolly Cool Show. Your host, Brent. Take care.